welcome back. I've got with me Phil from Genesis Mining.
Hi, nice to be here.
And we're chatting about proof-of-work mining. Why? Because it still is what powers crypto.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's so many projects that are saying, we're going to go to proof-of-stake, and I'm saying, oh yeah? When? Prove it. Everyone's over in Prague right now talking about proof-of-work. We're slumming it in Las Vegas, talking about proof-of-work here.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
How's the last couple of days been for you?
It's actually my first time in Las Vegas, so I'm having a great time checking out the city.
I don't mean to make you jaded too prematurely. That'll come in time, but on your first visit, I'm glad the novelty is still there.
No, that's good. The conference is great fun. There's a lot of really interested people here. Like, there's really, a lot of really helpful discussions. A lot of people who really want to take something forward and not just like sell something.
Right. Well,
I'm always really happy to hear.
There's a little bit of that too.
Oh, it's mixed. It's definitely mixed, but you got to expect that.
Sure. And I'm not going to name names. Obviously, it's a small glass house. Don't throw stones. Let's talk a little bit about Genesis Mining and your involvement with it, and let's talk about proof of work and mining. I represent it's a fairly small community of small to mid-scale miners. So essentially, people with say maybe 1,000 GPUs or fewer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's. And realistically, you get to a certain point, and you can no longer claim that you're a small or mid-scale miner.
1,000 GPUs, you've got, I think, most of the problems that you have, like if you have 10,000 GPUs. I think 1,000 is already getting quite serious. It's already enough that you don't want to be doing any operation manually on every GPU.
Right.
And that's where it starts getting really interesting.
Right. And we've got a few co-location operators in the community as well. So they are at that scale, but not necessarily their own capital interest.
Right.
So that's kind of the audience.
Hosting for other people. That's the same problem.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, you guys don't know anything about hosting for other people, do you? I kid. It's your core business.
It's exactly what we do.
Yeah. Guys, if you're not familiar with Genesis Mining, first off, oh my gosh, I always need to say, when it comes to interviewing services, I'm sorry, it's not personal, but the disclaimer is, this is not an implicit endorsement of Genesis Mining. Phil and I are just talking. We're at a blockchain conference. Neither is his participation in this video an implicit endorsement of my core business. We're just talking about blockchain, talking about mining. But with Genesis Mining, your involvement with Genesis Mining, and pardon my ignorance, we've never met before, and I haven't tracked your career with Genesis Mining. When did you start? How did you get started?
All right, so I'm the head of mining operations for Genesis Mining, so I handle all the technical R&D and the operational business of our data centers. I've been with the company since pretty much the beginning, since 2014. And I've seen all the different developments in the industry as a whole, and of Genesis Mining in particular. And it's been a really awesome ride to see like everything just growing and growing and like improving here and there and problems being overcome. And it's I'm really happy to be part of the industry. Yeah,
very cool. So let's talk about timelines as far as starting with Genesis Mining in 2014.
Right.
And it's a little bit nerdy. We're kind of a nerdy bunch. That's the thing. I mean, if you're not comfortable with a dash of autism, then get out of blockchain now. Get out of mining certainly right now. We're surrounded by it. It's a little bit of social awkwardness, but a lot of technical prowess. So I've got to say, your team is actually very socially gifted. I'm surprised. Sorry, is that weird? Wow, you have less autism than everybody else.
Well, that's actually a compliment we don't hear too often.
And a terrible thing to say, too.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Thanks. Right. Thanks. Yeah, we do our very best.
Yeah, right. Yeah, immutable traits. Wow, I have less of this immutable trait than somebody else. But starting in 2014, there was clearly a shift in proof of work in terms of the hardware being used for proof of work at that time through
2014, you said?
2014,
right? When
you started with Genesis Mining till today. Frankly, 2013, right? So the renaissance of GPU mining, we've witnessed that in that time, where GPU mining was something that could be done for some of the we call it the grandfathered, more stable. I can't say stable coins, but larger market cap coins now were once GPU mineable. No longer is that really the case. But there's been a renaissance of GPU mining with the smaller cap alts, and now Ethereum, of course, more recently has been quite profitable. And then in the more recent history, not as much, with the prospect of it becoming even less profitable as the block reward is reduced. So that being said, with Genesis Mining, 2014 till today...
Let me give you a quick overview of where it started off. So actually, funny that you mentioned the figure of 1,000 GPUs earlier. Our first mining farm was actually 1,000 GPUs. 1,000 GPUs. There were RX, 270, 280, that kind of, and those 9550 Radeon things.
The R9 series.
So this was in late 2013. And we were mining Litecoin, right? Bitcoin was too late for Bitcoin. The first ASICs had hit, and they instantly rendered the GPUs unusable.
Yeah.
So we were mining Litecoin, which was like the ASIC resistant alternative to Bitcoin, right? Because I'm mining Litecoin, that worked for quite a while, and then Dogecoin, which is the same algorithm, but just a cooler coin, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then kind of it got apparent, okay, there's going to be Litecoin ASICs released. And at that point, there wasn't really too much of an alternative. We were like, okay, what do we do? Luckily, before that happened, X11 launched, Dash. Back then, Darkcoin back then, now Dash, mining the X11 algorithm, which was a new ASIC resistant. Right? It's got 11 algorithms all mingled together, so you can't build an ASIC, it's too complicated. Good. So we were mining X11, and we're mining that for quite a while. And then it emerged that probably there'll be X11 ASICs coming out. And we were like, oh God, what do we do? There was nothing else to mine, there was just nothing. Luckily, just in time, just a couple of months before the first ASICs launched, Ethereum launched. So we were making effort. We were mining Ethereum on day one. So now Ethereum, and I've been mining Ethereum for as let's say the main coin that we were mining for quite a while. Ethereum has been the GPU and mineable ASIC resistant coin for ages.
Sure.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, Hashimoto has held up admirably.
1 or 2, yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, and now even though there's now the first ASICs coming, which are not too much better than GPUs, but still. We've seen the profitability sink a little bit of Ethereum, that's for sure. And now, well, we're worried again. What do we do? Just in time, Monero forks away from ASICs and goes to GPU. So, we're like, okay, relieved a bit there.
Yeah.
So basically, what I want to tell you is that in the industry, I think there's a very, very strong GPU community. I think proof of work mining really has its roots in GPU miners. I think CPU not so much, because the CPU mining was actually a very short period.
I don't know. I know a CPU mining community they are rabid fans, but I think you'd have to be a CPU miner, a dedicated CPU miner.
I think so. Well, you're always competing against the botnet, so I think it's difficult. Anyway, it's a GPU mining community, and whenever there's more coins going out of the market because they're going to ASICs, so far at least there's been dependable, fresh material to mine. And I'm kind of carefully optimistic for the future that this is going to stay the case. I think that's important because much of the community has been built on top of this mining, right? Much of the crypto community as it is right now is built on mining. It's like people thinking about mining and knowing about mining and doing it themselves and giving it a try. So I think it's a vital part of the whole crypto industry.
Yeah, phenomenal. What would you say to the person that's just getting started, maybe has a couple of GPUs lying around, because the typical profile is somebody who's a gamer, who has a couple of GPUs lying around, and they're just now discovering cryptocurrencies and thinking, hey, maybe I can mine.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think nowadays there's more resources online for how to do mining and how to get started the easy way than there've ever been before.
Oh, right? Come on, Phil. You got multiple years of experience starting at that time, 2014. 1,000 GPUs seemed like a mountain of GPUs. That must have seemed like more GPUs than anyone would ever need. Whereas now we've got community members of 1,000 GPUs, and this is a full-time. That's awesome. They're full-time employed in the service of running that data center, but it's not full-time income today, which is crazy. To have 1,000 GPUs and have it not necessarily pay for the livelihood of one person.
Yeah, well, we're in a bear market, and don't forget that in 2013 we hit $1,100 per Bitcoin, and then after a year it went down to it hit 170, didn't it? $150 very briefly. There was a spike, but still, we all know it's a volatile market, and right now we're not the best. We're not the best time right now. I think you can still quite profitably mine though Monero and Ethereum. Check the numbers, to be honest. Probably Monero is a bit more profitable than Ethereum.
I think it depends
especially on Nvidia.
Depends on the platform for sure.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing is if somebody is just starting, then they should possibly be looking at Ethereum and Monero. That would be.
Ethereum, I think there must be so many tutorials out there how to do Ethereum. It might be the easiest to get started with.
Sure.
But running the profitability. Yeah, I think you're right. It probably depends on the platform. I'd have to check numbers. I don't want to promise anything. Yeah. But Ethereum or Monero are probably your best bets. They're probably your best bets.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. Yeah. Well, Phil said Phil made an income guarantee. No, he didn't.
Then again, many people come to me and say, "Hey, Phil, are you doing all this? I've got this cool new software that switches the algorithm to the most profitable coin all the time, and it's doing great, and I'm doing 25% better than Ethereum mining or something, and it sounds really great." That's something that you can do after you've gathered some experience, of course. with a small farm. Like, people are trying to sell us their software that does this for a large farm, which we can't use it for that. If you have even for 1,000 GPUs, if you just switch them back and forth for every hour, you're going to crash all the small coins that you're mining on. So actually, it's limiting you in a way. So if you have a larger and larger farm, it's limiting you to the larger and larger coins. So I think if you're asking exactly the question, that if you're a small miner, you're just getting into it, you can gather a bit of experience, and then you can actually use some of these tools that are out there, like just by the community. Maybe you can be even more profitable than just using the mining calculator online.
For sure. Okay, so it sounds like also then you're admonishing a little bit of restraint when it comes to using profit switching protocols or programs that may switch you from one coin to another as you scale up in your hash power. Exactly.
I mean, there's several reasons for it, right? I mean, first of all, the obvious answer is if you're doing it and you're crashing coins in the way, you can just be crashing the coins and you won't make any profit, which is the whole point of the switching in the first case, right? And then obviously it's not a very nice thing to do to the community. So as a large player in the industry, we do definitely see ourselves as playing an important role in like putting it out there, putting news out there, informing people of how the whole mining thing works, and like just pushing the whole crypto industry in general. And then it wouldn't work too well to like be crashing random coins at the same time. So that's but it's good, right? It's not profitable and it's evil, so there's no reason to do it whatsoever.
Sure, like cutting one's own throat, right? When you attempt to mine a coin that no longer has value because you hold the biggest bag and you destroy the network with your own hash power.
Yeah, it's not good for anyone.
Hasn't stopped some people in the past, but it's been a while since somebody's been quite that selfish.
I mean, like 51% attacks, or
51% attacks on the larger.
Pool hopping in general.
Pool hopping in general seems like just a bad idea. So it seems like right now we both attended a mining panelist session, and if you haven't seen that video, I've only included select portions of my video coverage of it. And I asked, hey, what about profit switching? Somebody mentioned as much from the front of the room, and I felt that was very irresponsible for a large-scale mining operator or a large-scale mining solutions provider to suggest that profit switching or that rapid coin switching be done. I mean, not least of all because there are problems with destabilizing some of these coins, but then also with pulse mining, it seems like very obvious and very notorious problem.
I get the point that you're making, but I think you're going to be careful because how to put this? I'm hearing more and more moral arguments being out there, let's say, against mining, like saying, oh, it's irresponsible to use so much power. It's polluting their environment because it's wasting electricity. Proof of work, that is, of course. Sure. You shouldn't do pool hopping. Kind of fits for me into the same kind of area, like putting moral arguments against miners, which is fair. Like every argument is fair. We can talk about it. But what I generally think is that the system was designed in a game theoretical way, so that if everyone's acting as own selfish interests, which it assumes, then still the network is working. That's the whole point, right? So you need more than 50% and be evil to do evil things. You can't. It assumes that everyone's very selfish and thinking only economically.
Provided the game theory takes that into account, I would agree. I don't know that every single network, I don't know that every single protocol is designed in that way.
It needs to be. If you're in the decentralized crypto space, that's what it's all about.
On that we agree.
But if you allow your system to be gamed, if you need everyone to be altruistic and helping all together and holding each other's hands, that's exactly what we're not building. We're building a trustless system where you do not need trust. And that's like the result of that is what we're seeing. So basically, if you're acting in these selfish ways, like doing pool hopping with the big farm or whatever, you are actively hurting the industry, like I just said before, and it's actually hurting your profits. So it's exactly doing what it should be doing, the whole system, right? It's punishing people through economic incentive.
So I wonder then why it's still so popular.
Pool hopping. I mean, if you're a small miner, you're doing some pool hopping. I think it's not going to matter so much.
It really won't. I totally agree. It really won't. And in the same way that mining small cap altcoins is not going to hurt the entire ecosystem when only a couple of miners do it, or they mine and hold early on. But I wonder about that. Why there are still so many? Why pool hopping and why coin switching is why it holds such a lure?
Well, I mean, if it's profitable,
it seems like it should be profitable. But it seems like it doesn't always pan out that way.
No, well, I guess it should be profitable for people. I think it's definitely profitable for smaller players. But let's say a large portion of GPU miners all start doing pool hopping. Worst case, all with the same servers that always switch it to the same pool. That would be craziness, right? And then everyone would lose their benefits, and then people would switch away from it again. So it must be a self-balancing system in a way, right? If just a couple of people do it, it's not really bad. It kind of doesn't really hurt anyone too much, and they got an extra profit. Nice for them. And if too many people do it, everyone starts losing out, and people stop doing it again. So I'd hope that it's a self-regulating system there.
Yeah, I'd hope so too. I don't know that it always plays out that way. I mean, there's also.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean that's just my take on it. I don't know that it always plays out as being profitable for the mid-scale miner. It seems like more frequently when you get to the mid-scale, not the large scale, and certainly not the small-scale miner, but the mid-scale miner, there seems to be a tendency to want to set it and forget it, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Get to not only systems of IT admin that work for them, but also pools and coins that earn fairly consistent income.
Well, with the standard AMD driver, if you've got an AMD graphic card, an AMD machine with, let's say, the standard setup, six cards or 8 cards, it doesn't really matter too much, and you start mining Ethereum. You double-click the .exe and it starts Ethereum mining. You got a absolutely non-zero chance of it just crashing and it not working, and you have to pull the plug, wait 5 seconds and plug it back in. Why is that? That's because of like the DAG file, which needs to be allocated inside the GPU RAM, and the DAG file is quite big, and the GPU driver doesn't like that big file, and it doesn't matter, technical reasons, but you got something like a up to 5% chance of the machine just not booting when it's crashing. So imagine you're doing pool hopping, let's say between Ethereum and Monero, okay? And you're switching back and forth, and every switch, you lose 5% of your miners. Now, as a home miner, that's fine, right? Because every 20 switches, it crashes once. As a miner with 1,000 miners, let's say, you got, what is it? A significant number of rigs crashing every single time. So you're going to be very annoyed. Yeah. And you might just not want that hassle.
Right, yeah, for sure. From 2014 to now, what have you seen Genesis Mining go through by way of transformation? You mentioned that first large data center, 1,000 GPUs. It seemed larger than life at that time.
Huge.
And that's quite an accomplishment, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in 2014 having friends and associates talk about GPU mining, and 1,000 GPUs just seemed like the mountain.
That would be huge. Back then, people didn't know about, at least people involved in crypto and Bitcoin didn't really know about data centers. Like those worlds were not linked. Of course, data centers existed, and of course, blockchain space existed, but it wasn't linked in any way. And so I think the biggest thing that I've seen over the last 4 years is that the crypto miners have gone more in the direction of being professional data center operators, and the data center operators have, even completely independently of crypto, gone more and more easy on their data centers.
Right, they've gone from tier 1 to tier 4.
Right, exactly. So
Bitcoin
miners, I think it took several years for the first Bitcoin mine to be in a tier anything data center. Right? You know, those garages or the fires that used to be like in the Bitcoin news back in 2013, 20.
Couldn't be classified.
If you put an electrician in there, he'd just start crying and run back out, and he'd just sue you instantly.
Right, yeah, call the fire department.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on the data, and that's been getting more and more professional, since also a life cycle of ASICs has become longer, because it's more and more difficult to build a better ASIC than the previous generation, right? So it has to be running for longer. Back then, if your hardware was just destroyed after 3 months of operation, it doesn't matter, you're going to replace it anyway. Yeah. Nowadays, the S9 had a lifetime of about 2 years. So if you put that in some horrible garage or something and it gets rusty and burns, you're actually losing your capacity. So we've seen the miners getting more and more professional and more integrated, and I had a talk today about like a vertically integrated technology stack from data center design, miner design, software design, operational practices, trying to integrate that all together to be like, have like let's say a data center ecosystem where the maintenance people can be as efficient as they can. So the mining industry is getting more and more professional. At the same time, the data center industry is going away from those tier 3 or tier 4 super expensive data centers in the middle of a city, like telecom data centers servicing people very close by with extremely high latency and extremely expensive equipment. We're moving away from that, and we're going into cloud computing, which is like Facebook, Google, Amazon, building data centers in the middle of nowhere with redundancy. So they don't need to build tier 3, tier 4. They're getting more and more down to tier 1. Where they don't have redundancy power and so on, but they have enough data centers around that if one data center were to be cut off, they could just transfer that capacity to a different data center. And so we're seeing these developments independently of each other. The Bitcoin miners getting more professional, and the data center providers cutting down on costs a lot and getting, like, say, less professional that way. I don't want to put that in anyone's mouth, but, you know,
you're right.
Getting more and more easy in the technology. And I'm seeing a convergence. And the fun thing is that now in the conferences like here, we've actually got people side by side. So we've got the data center people trying to get into mining, and we've got the mining people getting into data centers and high performance computing. Yeah. And now we could be next to each other and have very different backgrounds and very different approaches to the problem, but a very similar solution. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see how these industries have kind of become part of the same ecosystem and just been growing together that way.
Yeah, totally agree. This has been a fun show. a very fun show, especially here on the mining floor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've met some really great people here, some really good ideas.
So call some out. I mean, for somebody who's been working in the GPU mining and cloud mining space, I don't know if that's frankly, is that how it's built now with what Genesis Mining is offering? Is that so? The core offering is called cloud mining.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, got it.
We've got the same product pretty much.
I wanted to make sure
it's better. Yeah.
So being in that industry and having seen cloud mining and its progression over the last 4 years or so, and then coming to the show, what has caught your attention the most? Outside of just that general trend.
Yeah. What's caught my attention the most? I don't know. Like I've seen more companies that like offer not just a specific product, but them offering a full ecosystem. I've been seeing that more and more. Obviously, we do that, right? I mean, our customers just pay one time, they get everything that we got to offer, like in one simple product, the hash rate. So that's okay. So we do that anyway. And then there's others, like there's Coinbao, who've got their super specialized mining container, which seems like they do the chip development up to the container production, and they do everything. That's nice to see. People have put so much work into it. And there's the Green Revolution cooling. They've got like the immersion cooling now, which is exactly that kind of link between high performance computing world and mining world that I was talking about. But,
totally.
I like it. You can put your hand in the oil. It's not dangerous, I hear. I hope.
Yeah, right. Well, so, don't drink it.
Yeah.
It's not fit for human consumption.
Yeah, there's the Cranbrew guys. Also, definitely coming from the high performance computing side, and like looking into how to build mining farms that are set up to be scaled up to high performance computing in the future. It's just really nice talking to people here. I really feel that there's really a general vibe to progress things. Yeah, and not like, even though we're in a bear market, of course, and people's profits are going down, people are dropping out of the market, still there's a really positive attitude here. Because people are seeing, like the people who are developing this technology, we're thinking in a couple of years intervals, right? We're not thinking like, oh, how will we survive next month?
Right.
We're trying to think like in which direction should we go? Like which kind of departments should we start building up in order to go in the right direction over the next couple of years?
Yeah.
And this is where it's really happening.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, Phil, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you talking about GPU mining and proof of work in general over the last 4 years. What are you excited about from Genesis Mining in the coming months? You mentioned a general trend here in proof of work. Is there anything you can talk about on behalf of Genesis Mining that you're excited about, or that maybe you have a fiduciary responsibility to talk about on camera?
To be honest, I'm really not here to do too much marketing for Genesis Mining. I'm trying to talk with other players in this space. I'm trying to understand what other people are talking about and thinking about most of all. And then we think like, well, oh man. Well, actually, I don't know.
The nice thing about being on camera is that I give everybody the opportunity to pitch if they've got something to pitch.
Well, no, thanks for the chance. I got nothing really to pitch. I mean, our product pretty much stands. It's what we do, right? We do cloud mining. If you want mining, and it should be as easy as possible, genesismining.com. That's the best I can do.
All right.
I'm more from the technical side.
Yeah, fair enough. And I should ask also, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you personally? Are you active on Twitter, on Telegram, Discord, etc.?
I've got a Twitter. Yeah, I've got a Twitter set up. I haven't been doing it for too long, but I'm treading carefully in that space.
Okay. It's kind of dangerous to be very public, actually.
I think it's okay. I think it's important that you kind of put some information out there, like to the world. Let's say that's not evil.
Yeah.
That's not evil. There's so many places in the crypto Twitter scene that's just horrible to read, and it makes you feel uneasy scrolling through. Yeah. I try to make a good contribution to that, make it a little bit better.
Okay, phenomenal. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking some time, and I get the sense that we've got some other people to talk to, and that we'll probably do a little more chatting off camera. Sorry, guys. I believe there's a time for a bit of public information, and but we can't, as miners especially, we can't talk about all of it all the time. Otherwise, you lose your individual profit motive.
There we go.
Yeah. So really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, Seth.
Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for being subscribed and clicking the bell icon. And thank you for making a comment. Tell us what you liked about this video, or let me know what you'd like to see in one of our upcoming videos. Go ahead and leave an Ethereum address that has ERC20 token support, like on my Ether wallet, and we will select another winner before the next video. Remember, you're the reason I make these videos. I love your face. And I will see you in the next one.